10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ghost. Hey, everybody. Welcome to 321 Ghost. As always, I'm your host with a silent G, Kyle. And as always, joined by my pal Natalie. Hi, Natalie. How are you?
I'm doing great. You're the worst.
Like maybe like two numbers into my countdown, I was like, oh, wait, shit, but they don't like find it in order. Is it like 10, 9, 8, 6, 7,
Yeah,
something like that? I don't
it's
know. It's
something
the
like
numbers
that. Yeah,
I don't think they even find. It's so confusing. It's very one of the frankly many convoluted things about this movie. Hey
I'm
everybody,
excited.
we're talking about 2003's not horror movie. It's a thriller.
There's murder.
There is murder. Okay, if there wasn't a head in a dryer, that alone, I'm like, okay, fine, it's horror. But
Yeah,
outside of that, I don't know. We're talking about the 2003 John Cusack thriller Identity. Um, you chose this movie,
I did.
so and you're a Taurus.
I
Is that why?
know. No, you know what? I totally forgot about that, them being Tauruses and their birthdays being so close to mine. So it just actually fits really well.
Do you ever sometimes feel like there's just six different Tauruses inside you?
No, never.
Um, I had never seen this movie before. Have you?
hmm I have. So I saw this movie when it first came out. I don't know that my mom and I probably rented it. She's also a big John Cusack fan.
Who
So,
isn't?
yeah, exactly. Like, you're a monster if you aren't, by the way. So, I'm pretty sure we rented this. And I mean, I would have been like 16 at the time. And I remember we watched this and we were just like blown away. We we fucking loved it in 2003. Then I watched it again to see if it actually made sense. I'm still not sure if it makes any sense, but I'd say I've seen this movie 4 times now. I watched it again for this episode, so probably a total of 4 times over the years.
Anything in particular that drew you to be like, hey, let's do this movie. Let's make sure Kyle watches this.
That wasn't so much my motivation, but I think it was more so I hadn't seen it in a long time. I remembered it being at least interesting and maybe a little silly and dated. So I thought that it would be fun because what I did remember was what I like about the movie, which is just a bunch of like a random assortment of characters being trapped in one place and having to deal with being knocked off one by one. That's a fun situation, I think, just to start. So that was what I remembered the most about it, but I only remembered part of the twist at the end. I didn't remember who the bad identity was. I forgot.
It's so bad. Yeah, this movie absolutely, wears it on its sleeve, its influence from And Then There Were None, the Agatha
Yeah, of
Christie novel.
course.
Um, Dude, I think it was seventh grade when we were reading that book, and I didn't read books in high school or in any school really, especially ones that were assigned to me, except for one
Oh yeah.
random weekend where I just blew through Scarlet Letter like front to back without a pause. I don't know why,
You loved
but
it.
yeah, it spoke to me, I guess.
Yeah.
And but in seventh grade, I'm pretty sure sixth or seventh, we did this book, and then there were none.
Mm.
And I was like, this shit fucking slaps. It's
Yeah,
so good.
it does.
Um, I love every adaptation of it.
It's
So
considered a novella though, right?
sure, it's smaller.
Sure. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. Yeah, yeah, I guess I don't know. I don't even want to ask like
It's
how
like a certain
short, how
page count or
long
something, probably.
doesn't?
I
Okay.
would think. I don't know. I'm not
Hmm.
we talk about movies for a reason.
This movie is directed by James Mangold, who's had a pretty wild fucking career. Just going through his IMDb real quick, his breakout is that he co-wrote the animated movie Oliver and Company. Remember that one?
Yes,
Yeah, I never saw it, but I know it.
I've seen it.
Um, He did Copland, also with Ray Liotta. Girl Interrupted, which I actually never saw, but I remember
Oh,
that being a really big deal.
it's interesting.
So you can see the upward trajectory, and then he makes that movie Kate and Leopold with Meg Ryan and Hugh Jackman. Whew.
Interesting.
Yeah, I like how she chose. I mean, it's the common joke, right? Is she just like chose like against, you know, modern medicine? Like, well, I don't even know what the average lifespan was for a woman in that time, but certainly wasn't as long as it was in the present.
No,
But oh, geez, he did Walk the Line.
that
That,
was a big one.
yeah, right.
Hmm.
Um, Geez, and then I don't know. Let me see. Let me think. He did 310 to Yuma, and then also, but like more recently, he had done Logan, which is,
Hmm.
I don't. Marvel movies
We
aren't
don't,
really my thing,
yeah, we don't
and
follow those.
yes, yeah, and I remember it being a pretty watchable X-Men movie, right?
Hmm.
Um, and then he did that most recent Indiana Jones movie, which I will argue is not the worst Indiana Jones movie.
Hmm.
So there you go.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say go out of your way to watch it, especially if that's really not your thing, but whatever.
Not like Identity.
Not like Identity, right? Dude, Alan Silvestri did the music for this. So, I just like to give an industry legend award to Alan Silvestri,
That's fair.
um, composing music for Back to the Future, Who Framed Roger Rabbit, Death Becomes Her,
Good shit.
Contact, What Lies Beneath, so actually a
Oh,
little
we
spooky,
should get to
right?
that one.
That'd be a fun one to do.
That'd be a fun one. It's a long ass movie.
He also did Predator, The Abyss. I feel like oh, and Van Helsing. Oh, geez. Okay.
Oh,
Well, look, they all can't be winners. That's okay. But maybe the music for Van Helsing was okay. And The Mummy Returns. So I feel like he's done, I think
okay.
he's earned that industry legend, right?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. More than earned.
I feel like it's been a minute since we've had a real stacked cast, but I think if anything is a standout of this movie, it's the cast. What do you think?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. They really laid it on thick with the cast. And I know Amanda Peet kind of disappeared after the early 2000s, but she was pretty hot at the time. Like she was like in a lot in this like time span of like what 2000 to 2006 maybe.
Oh yeah, that was peak Amanda
Yeah.
Peet, absolutely.
Hmm.
Amanda Peak. I don't know. So you've got John Cusack, of course, we mentioned. Ray
Industry
Liotta,
legend.
industry legend John Cusack. Of the industry legend siblings, are they probably the only siblings that are industry legends so
Well,
far?
we haven't done a movie with Joan yet, but
I feel
I
like we
think
brought her up somehow, but it's coming.
it's safe to say that she's secured.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ray Liotta, which I mean, like, I don't know. I feel like everyone likes Ray Liotta.
Everyone loves Ray Liotta. He's kind of the same character in most movies, but I don't care.
You've got Amanda Peet, Alfred Molina, which is maybe this might have been like a year or two before he was Doc Ock in Spider-Man 2,
Oh yeah, that's
also
why
in
he
an
looked
Indiana Jones
familiar.
movie.
Hmm.
There you go. Industry legend Clea Duvall.
Oh yeah.
She doesn't get a lot to do here and is pretty obnoxious, but she's
Eh,
always a sight for sore eyes, you
she's
know?
awesome, but this is probably the only character I can think of that she's played that I don't love.
Mm, I hear that.
Yeah.
Ripika de Mornay. Ooh, sorry, may have fucked that up. You got John Hawkes, industry legend, John
Industry legend
Hawkes.
John Hawkes.
Love that. Um, industry legend Jake Busey. Have you done that yet for him already?
We must have. Hasn't he been in something that we covered?
Frighteners.
Yes, Frighteners. We gave him an industry legend for sure. Yeah, he's
Oh
great.
yeah.
He always plays a weirdo.
I love it. Well, I feel like that's all he can do. He
I
just has
know.
that energy.
He
It's
just looks and
inherited from his
feels like a
father.
weirdo. Yeah.
He's like, if you want me to turn it up, he's like, that's how he sells himself. He's like, I'm like a toned down version of my father. So if
Take
you
it or
like,
leave it.
yeah, if you need just like a little crazy, but like you need to like rein it in sometimes, I'm your guy, Jake Busey. Um, So Nepo baby, Jake Busey, I
Yep.
suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah. William Lee Scott, Pruitt Taylor Vince, and then John C. McGinley, who um, I mean, I think a lot of people probably know him from Scrubs.
Hmm.
There is a fantastic TV show. I don't know if you've seen it called Stan Against Evil that was on for like 3 or 4
Oh,
seasons.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was really fun. Was it 3 or 4 seasons?
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was
Sure.
only like 2 seasons, but
3 or 4, but like 8 episodes
okay, they were
tops.
short. I
Yeah.
really enjoyed that show. Yeah, he's great in that.
It might still be on Hulu, so check it all out if you can.
Yeah.
Not you, the greater
Yeah.
audience.
Yeah,
You know
everyone should
better.
watch it. Yeah.
He basically just plays like an even more like he's just like a drunk, exaggerated version of his character on Scrubs,
Hmm.
who who has to fight demons. So it's
Yeah,
really fun.
it's great. Yeah. I think he can take an industry legend for that.
Yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah,
Industry legend. Yeah,
why not?
we're gracious people.
We sure are.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Welcome to the team, John C. McKinley. Well, I don't know. I'm happy to just hop into this movie. How about you?
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, this movie's pretty convoluted. And watching it for the first time, not knowing the twist, it's really, I'm like,
You're like, what the
why
fuck is going on?
why are we caring about like these two separate things? Like, are these
Hmm.
people that we're meeting at these motels supposed to be the people that he murdered?
Yeah.
What's going on?
Yeah.
There's absolutely no connecting the two until the, I mean, you can kind of put two and two together, I suppose, but
I don't
it,
know. I think that actually is one of the biggest flaws of this movie is those two completely separate. I mean, yes, they tie together in the end, but there's no way that as a viewer you would be able to like pinpoint that, which makes it less of a twist, in my opinion.
which makes the twist feel a little unearned, but I mean, we'll
Yes.
get there.
Yeah, I
Um,
agree.
so you have this doctor, the psychiatric doctor, who's played by Alfred Molina. I think his name is Dr. Malik.
Hmm.
And he is listening to patient interview tapes with what's his name, Malcolm River,
Hmm.
who you can see Dr. Malik's going through a few different newspaper clippings, of whatever file he has on him. You learn that, he was abused as a child, parents abandoned him, um, grew up and then murdered 6 people in an
Hmm.
apartment complex
It
on
is
his.
definitely noteworthy that his mother was also a sex worker.
Right, right,
They
which,
say that too, who left him in the car at the motel all the time when she was working. So a little bit of trauma there.
yeah, which I mean, at least explains a little bit like why everyone is just so
They fucking
just
hate
fucking
Paris.
hate Paris
Hmm.
and honestly identify her as a sex worker like immediately when like I don't she like
I,
okay
I
if you're working off the unfortunate like depiction of like what a
yeah.
sex worker might look like or has been portrayed in the media, she doesn't
Hmm.
even match that. Like she's just I don't
She
know,
just looks like a normal woman in the
normal ass
early
person.
2000s. Like, yeah, when I think of when you see a sex worker in a movie, my immediate thought is Julia Roberts in Pretty Woman, like in that very like revealing dress with like the bad bob wig, where it's like anyone who sees her walking into a hotel is like, oh, that's definitely a sex worker. And she's got those like thigh high boots. Like that's what I always picture. So like seeing Amanda Peet just she wasn't wearing like anything that was particularly revealing. She's wearing a normal like just a leather jacket. Her hair is tied back. She's not wearing a lot of makeup, like just the stereotypes that you would think of a sex worker she doesn't fit into. So that also is, I think, supposed to be some sort of hint. But I mean, no, I don't think any of the things that should be hinting to you that these are all one person really land.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Malcolm River. is set to be executed, went through the whole court process. And I guess the day before he is set to be executed, the defense comes up with this diary, a diary that, based on whatever's in it, would justify that he should get an insanity um,
Hmm.
ruling, I guess, judgment, not like a but
Yeah.
he'd get some sort of diagnosis for mental health disability that
Hmm.
would just not justify, but at least like provide more context on where his state of mind was when he murdered these people. Um,
Hmm. Which
so
I don't know that I fully understand the legality of all of this or if it even makes sense at all, but I'm
it
pretty
doesn't.
sure that if you're within 24 hours of being executed, nobody's getting together for any meetings. Like it's done. It's been decided. Like
Um,
that's it.
I don't, I don't know. I mean, like,
For
obviously, I don't
something like
have,
the journal, you know, I don't
I
think that
don't
would be
know.
enough. People have been
I
executed for way less.
Sure, but I do think I feel like there's got to be evidence of, at times where, their lawyers will do some last ditch Hail Mary situation,
Yeah.
trying to ask for a reprieve or a stay, even like up till the day before. I mean, without anything in front of me, like I feel like there's even recent examples, but I don't. Either way, it feels very unorthodox
Yeah.
watching this movie.
Yeah.
I agree. And
Hmm.
but we even before we have time to even sink our teeth into whatever the fuck's going on there, we cut to this motel.
Hmm.
It's pouring rain. And this is when we start meeting essentially our main characters.
Yeah.
Remember, we have not
Rapid
actually
fire.
yeah, and we've never actually seen Malcolm Rivers yet.
No,
We've not seen his face.
no.
So we've just heard his voice. So we've got John Hawkes who plays Larry. We'll see how I do with
Hmm.
these names.
Yeah.
Who
I'll back you up on that. I made a very good key for us.
Larry Washington, remember that one?
Yeah.
Who, at least as far as we know, is the manager of this random motel.
Yes.
Just having some drinks, watching. I didn't get a good look about. I was listening to the music. I think it's Wheel of Fortune he was watching.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was.
S- so we've got him, and then we also have this family, which it's
The
Jesus,
Yorks.
the Yorks, right? I
Hmm.
forget John C. McGinley's name.
He is George. The wife is
George York,
Alice. Yeah, George
Alice,
York. And then you've got Alice York and Timothy or Timmy for short.
right? So we've got them. They're driving. We don't know where they're going. Um, they get a flat tire in their van. Also, George is very like I don't know what you would call kind of like how he's like reacting, but just like very um
He's very
he's very
like
cautious. He's repeating like the steps out loud to
yeah,
respond to a flat tire as it's happening.
yeah.
Has a little bit of like it's not like an obsessive compulsive situation. It's
Hmm.
not like not exactly like a Dustin Hoffman Rain Man situation either,
Hmm.
but like
It's hard to
it's
pinpoint, but there's something different about John.
he's like doing these kind of like these rituals just kind of calm himself down, to
Yeah.
keep himself calm through a situation where he
Yeah.
might be escalated, which, hey,
Hmm.
fuck it. If it works, it works.
Yeah, there you go.
Um, we also get again these kind of like
Back
these
and
shots
forths.
back and forth between all these characters. I think what they run over is a knife, something that Paris
It was a
like
shoe. It was a
it's a
heel, like a high
oh, it's a
heel.
heel.
Hmm.
Okay, damn, it's a sharp ass heel.
Well, it's hard to tell because everything is wet and rainy, but it looks like the heel of that shoe, like the actual pointed heel part of it is like some sort of metallic, so it should be metal probably.
Okay,
Which could
so
which would fit her profession and like, what she might be wearing. Like heels can get pretty intense.
So we learn about Paris and her whole situation. She is a sex worker. She, I think, was stealing something from her last client, maybe
Lighter,
a
like
lighter.
pretty innocent.
Yeah.
Thick as lighter.
But she is leaving Vegas, where she was coming from,
Hmm.
with a shit ton of cash and all of her stuff, but then loses a heel out of her convertible that
Yeah.
ultimately George York and his family. George York is just something weird to say
Just say
over and
George.
over. Yeah, just George. Um, what am I doing? Okay, so they run over this heel, causes the flat tire. They get out. It's pouring rain. He's like, "Hey, I don't need any help, Alice. Just go do your thing, tend to the kid. I don't
Could
know
have
while
just
he's
stayed in
fixing
the
this flat
car
tire.
like a normal
Just stay in
person
the
would.
car."
Yeah.
She has this weird interaction with Timmy where I'm immediately like, what the fuck is up with this? Why is
Yeah.
this kid dressed like this? I don't like it. I don't
Yeah,
trust
he's very
children.
like proper, like his shirt is like completely buttoned up like all the way up to his neck.
It's kind of like he's dressed a little bit like George.
Yeah.
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 Who is a stepfather. Do you do you think that'd be weird if I don't know. Like I mean,
I have a
you have a step
stepfather.
you have a stepfather. Do
Yeah.
you think that would be weird if he just started insisting that you dress just like him? You'd be like, okay, this is a little weird. I don't like
He'd
this.
be wearing nautical themed t-shirts and board shorts.
Yeah. He just comes, he's like, here you go, Natalie. Here's your new wardrobe. It's all just yeah, nautical
Yep.
theme shit, board
Yeah,
shorts,
no, that would not work out for me. I
pair of
could
Crocs,
see
maybe.
I could see though a mother of a young child thinking that it's cute for her son to dress like his stepdad if she's weird. Like that's a
Hmm.
weird thing to do, but I could totally see some women doing that for sure.
Alice and Timmy have this like weird moment where they like press their hands together on each side of, he's in the
Hmm.
car, she's outside of the car. So it's like on the window.
Yeah.
Um, they have this like moment and then she takes a step back and then boom, gets fucking hit real hard
That's what
by
you get, bitch, for being in the middle of the road. Like, what are you doing?
really shouldn't be out in the middle of the road like that. You should
No,
have just
in the
waited in the
rain?
car. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not good. So she gets hit and she is pretty out of commission for most of this movie from this
Yeah.
point. She gets real fucked up.
Yeah.
And so she gets hit by a limo, which is being driven by John Cusack, who is Ed Dakota, um, who I don't remember the name of the actress. Do you?
Oh, her not the actual actress, the character.
Yeah, her character's name.
Carolyn Susan.
Carolyn
Carolyn
Susan.
Suzanne.
Oh, right, right,
Yeah.
right. So
Two first names.
yeah, and John Cusack is like, also kind of a part-time surgeon. He was a cop and you know, like a suicide negotiator kind of
Yeah.
situation, crisis
Yeah.
negotiator, I
Yeah.
suppose.
Jack
Kind
of
of
all
jack of all
trades.
trades. Yeah, a John of all trades, if you will. And but like this immediately, it's almost kind of obnoxious. He's your good guy. He's your moral
Oh yeah.
compass,
Yeah.
even though he gets a little aggro and like puts hands on people a little quickly,
Yeah. But
but is
he
supposed to be your
also
hero.
I do feel like, I mean, as much as I love John Cusack, I do feel like he's very underutilized in this film. Like, he definitely has one of the more boring roles to play, like with less to do. Like, he's got a lot of lines, but he doesn't get to have a lot of range until really the end of the movie.
And it wouldn't be the first time he plays a limo driver in a thriller.
The other one.
Yeah, he was a limo driver in that real bad Roland Emmerich movie 2012. You ever see that?
Oh, yeah. I don't remember if I saw that.
I wouldn't recommend it. There's if you want to watch a Roland Emmerich movie, Independence Day, Stargate,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
much better options.
Okay. When did 2012 come out?
Um, Before 2012,
Well, no
few,
shit.
few years early. Is it? Is it? No shit.
Yeah.
I don't know.
How would you make a movie about the year that's happening?
I don't know, but like there's been movies, I'm sure there's a movie called 1776 that came out after 1776.
Okay, well,
So, okay, get the fuck out of here. So
whatever.
basically, so he's a limo driver. He hits this woman. The actress is like, "You can keep going. It's okay.
I love
We don't
her.
have to wait." Yeah, she's a lot. She
I'm
got the
glad she
assignment.
I'm glad she died when she did, but yeah, she was at the right level of just ridiculousness.
Yeah. So he pulls over. John C. McGinley's just losing it, being like, no, 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 you're involved. You did
Yeah.
this. Why'd you do this? Like he's just really panicking and shutting
Yeah.
down. And he John Cusack tries to use the limo phone, doesn't work.
Hmm.
Um, really 2003, like I get like in the 80s, 90s, like car phones probably were like super spotty,
Hmm.
didn't work all the time, but I guess we are in kind of a supernatural, well, a really an unreal place, right? So
Yeah.
I guess
Well,
that makes sense.
she had a cell phone, but it died. Like she was on the cell phone in the middle of nowhere, wherever they were.
So everyone books it to the motel, which is the closest place they can find, which would be at this point, yeah, like the actress and Ed and the family.
Hmm.
So they all go, and then this is they showed this shot earlier, but this is when John C. McGinley, George, he comes in carrying his wife, being like, she's bleeding, it's really bad,
Yeah.
we don't know what happened, help us.
Yeah.
Um, Also, meanwhile, you've got Paris,
Hmm.
who I guess drives far enough on this highway to find out that the highway's essentially flooded out, so there's nowhere
Yeah.
to go. So again, they're asking for phones at the motel. Uh, Larry's like, yeah, when it rains, phones don't work. I don't know. Funny how that
Yeah.
happens. You know how that happens
Yeah.
sometimes, right? It's not
Rain.
even not
Ah,
even like a wild storm. It's just raining a lot.
yeah, a lot of rain.
At best, Larry's like, I got a few band-aids, but the closest ER is, 30 miles east. So, fucking Ed's just like, all right, well, let's go do that. I don't know why they don't try to,
Bring her with.
if the hospital's 30 miles, yeah, bring her with. I don't.
Yeah, because by the time he reaches the hospital and then gets an ambulance to come back, if they can make it back, I mean, you might as well throw her ass in the car.
And she's bleeding out her fucking neck for a long time before he finally is like, oh yeah, huh, maybe I should stitch that up. I know
Hmm.
how to do this easy.
Yeah,
So Ed's like, all right, well, let me get my limo. I'm commandeering this limo. I don't know how that works. If she owns the limo, but I mean, it makes sense. People own boats and then hire a captain to sail it,
well, I
right? So
mean,
I
she
guess
doesn't necessarily have to own the limo. Like, she can rent the limo,
she makes it seem like
just
this is
use it as
her limo.
transportation.
Yeah. So either
Yeah,
way,
that's true.
yeah, he just gets pretty aggro, just grabs her and drags her out, literally throws her out of this limo, gets in and drives off.
Hmm.
On the way, you see Paris, and then I guess her car broke down at some point, but she's on the
Yeah,
side of the road in the pouring rain, being like, "Hey, can you give me a ride?" He wants to go east to the hospital, and she's like, "No, it's flooded." He's like, "Oh, well, maybe my limo can do the trick. Maybe
yeah.
limos
Maybe
are
just
just
driving
more."
into the water will help.
Yeah, maybe it's just like longer body, just like allows it to kind of like distribute the weight so it floats, maybe. I'm not sure. But
I don't know
he's like,
what
I'm
he
gonna
was
go check.
thinking.
He's like, and it's so weird because not only does he drive up there and then find out, yep, the road's flooded. She confirms it's this same thing the other way, or maybe that's
Hmm.
later on. But he like also manages to like crash himself into the in the water so he can't get out. And that limo's
Yeah,
basically out of commission at this point.
yeah. I mean, you'd think he would be driving pretty slowly with that heavy of rain, that he would have
Yeah.
noticed that like river of water in front of him, but it's fine.
We also have a couple drive up. They're the ones that confirm that it's flooded going the same distance the other way too.
Yeah.
And this is Jenny
Hmm.
and her brand new husband Lou.
Hmm.
Dumbest ass name in this fucking movie. Lou Easiana is I've never heard of someone's last name being Easiana. Have
I love
you?
it. No. But they don't reveal that until later.
Not until later, but it's still
Yeah,
super
it's
dumb.
just Lou.
But
It's really dumb.
then what's Ginny's full name? Ginny Easiana? Or what's or maybe they find out her maiden name and it's another state? I forget.
She probably would have her maiden name because they had just gotten married.
DMV probably wasn't even open yet. That makes sense.
She's not listed with a last name.
Hmm. Strange.
Yeah.
Well, basically, again, Ed gets a little aggro, just reaches into the car and just starts accosting Lou, Easy Anna here. And then he's just like, look, can you just give us a ride back to the hotel or to the motel, whatever, rather? And they agree. So Ed's like, all right, cool. Paris, get in the car. I'm gonna go grab my gun out of the glove box, that I usually carry with me.
Got it with me.
And it's pretty smart, that he has
Yeah.
it. He's gonna need it later.
Yeah.
And then they all ride back to the hotel. Yeah, once they get there, everyone is just real interested in Paris immediately and very
Yeah.
inappropriate.
Yeah.
Especially Lou and Larry just being like real fucking creeps. Not even so Lou's being a creep.
Lou's being a creep, like he's interested, what's your deal? And then Larry is just absolutely just calling her names, like disrespecting her blatantly. And you would think because of Larry's situation that we later learn in the movie that maybe he would try to just be chill and not draw attention to himself in in a situation. I don't know. I think I would just be like, I'm the humble motel owner. Thank you all for your business. Everything's fine. Enjoy your rooms. We have no phones or food.
He doesn't want heat on himself and his
No.
secret,
Yeah, like
right?
calm down, dude. Like being a dick to her.
They put George and Alice in room 4,
Mhm.
and Ed goes to go check, goes to check on them. He asks for permission to see her wounds. Um, ooh, takes a look at her
Ooh,
neck and is like,
Alice.
dude, the look John Cusack gives, it's a real subtle, like he's trying to hide that
Yeah. Yeah. I
reaction
that would just be
real
so
hard.
terrible. You're like, damn, I definitely killed this woman. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah, I was thinking there's gonna be just blood squirting at his face.
Yeah.
That's a little, and of course he's just like, so you don't have any band-aids or a sewing kit by any chance?
Mhm.
Something you can figure this out.
Do you feel like you could pull that off with no medical training? Do you think you could sew someone?
Yeah, I mean, I could half-ass sew somebody, not
Yeah.
in a way that I would guarantee would save them or help in any way. But if someone asked me to do it, I think I'd like, all right, I know how to
Yeah.
generally sew two things together,
Yeah.
but
I was thinking about it.
I don't know.
I was thinking about it and I was like, well, I've sewn like seams on things that have like come apart. So it couldn't be too different than that. But if you're at the point where a wound is so open and deep that you're considering having an untrained person sew it together, you're probably gonna die,
Yeah.
you know?
So I mean, I guess it's worth a try if help isn't
Yeah,
coming.
yeah.
Um,
Might buy some time.
yeah, like I don't know. I didn't even see him like wash his hands or find gloves when he's doing that. So, I don't know.
He knew. He was like, we're just doing this for George
Yeah.
and Timmy.
This is also when our final guests arrive, and it almost just like sends this like chill through
Mhm.
everybody.
Yeah,
Especially Ginny, which is
yeah.
very weird. And then this is when Ray Liotta and Jake Busey arrive.
Mhm.
Ray Liotta being Officer Rhodes, who is transporting this prisoner from one prison to another. This
Mhm.
prisoner is, I don't remember if he has a name, but he's played by Jake Busey.
He does. His
Um,
name is Robert Maine.
Whoa, right. Yeah, because the whole state situation.
Yeah.
Um, so they're here. So now we've got everybody here that we
Mhm.
care about, at least at this point. Ed is again doing his best to sew this woman's neck shut.
Ugh.
Just thinking about all the things that he shouldn't be doing instead of just keeping his eyes on the fucking road.
Yep.
You know, be like, go through your own goddamn
Yeah,
bag
I'd
and
be
just
like,
throw
here,
it
take
back
the
at her.
bag. Yeah,
Yeah, I gotta drive. That's
it's
literally my
pouring
only
rain.
job is to drive.
Yeah.
So please. Um, and then this is when George reveals that, you know, don't worry, the kid's been kind of weird anyway. So
Yeah.
don't worry. This is not him. He's traumatized, but not by this.
Yeah.
At least as far as I can tell.
He's just real fucked up to start.
Yeah, because his father left a couple years ago. Um, I am his stepfather,
He
and
implies that his dad, his biological father, was abusive too, I think.
yeah, abusive and vanished. And he's like, so I'm trying to build this relationship by dressing him up in small person's version's clothes of mine.
Little man clothes.
Yeah, so I made him just a little cute little man to look like me, a little baby George. But so so here we are. If you have any other questions, please feel free and ask them. Let's see. Busey is just doing his thing, just being a creep, um,
Mhm.
saying a bunch of cryptic shit. Um, Ray Liotta handcuffs him to the toilet in their room, which I'm just like, I don't know, dude. It's the only toilet in the room. Are you gonna?
Yeah, where are you gonna
Shouldn't
go to the
want to,
bathroom?
unless you just like want to like just pull your dick out and just pee right in front of him. But
I mean, he's a
which,
prisoner.
yeah, well, I mean, he doesn't deserve that. I like,
Just
but I
saying
like
he can
this.
get away with whatever he wants.
Oh yeah, it's like
He's not
sounds like
even a real
abuse.
cop.
So again, just building off everyone just being really creepy towards Paris. You have this weird interaction between Rhodes and Paris at the vending machine.
Mhm.
Um,
He's like trying to do some business and she's not having it.
yeah, she's like, "Can you tell I'm like not in my work uniform? I'm in my just
My regular clothes.
any person's clothes. Yeah, like please, I'm just trying to enjoy my Cheeto dinner. Be
Yeah.
cool. Um, leave me alone."
Yeah.
So, gosh, I mean, as we're getting to into the night, Ed's taking some pills. The manager, Larry's like hiding like a photo. I don't know.
Yeah.
Paris has a bunch of, oh, right. Oh, hiding the photo of, I would assume is the
The owner.
actual owner, right?
Oh, see, I did not catch that, but that makes
Now,
sense.
I mean, I only watched the movie once and I'm thinking about just now. I was like, who the fuck is that in that photo? And I was like, oh, that
Yeah.
makes sense now. Now that I
Yeah.
know that he isn't actually the owner.
Hmm.
And then you see Paris has like a shit ton of cash in her bag.
Yeah,
And
she's
then
the richest person
also,
there.
yeah, and then also like Rhodes takes his jacket off for a second and you see like a blood stain on the back of his shirt. Oh,
Because he shot the cop
right.
and then put
Or
on his shirt.
right.
Yeah. I did the same thing where I was like, what? Why does he have that?
Yeah, I was like, is he like a ghost? Is he dead already and got
Oh, that's
shot?
fun.
And yeah.
Would have been fun if he was a ghost.
So the actual cop that he killed, if
Hmm.
him and Jake Busey are both prisoners, is that cop like also a personality of Malcolm's?
That's a great question. I don't
Because
know.
he's the only person outside of well,
No,
him
because he doesn't
and
have a
the
number,
original, yeah, him and the original um hotel owner or whatever.
but we never see those two people alive.
Right.
So I don't know
So
that they count as personalities.
let's see. So we're checking in on everybody, and then we circle back to Caroline, the actress.
Hmm.
Um, he's trying to get self-service outside. She goes outside, hears some noises, turns around, and then this like really awkward like she got killed somehow because there you just see that
Yeah, they don't.
blood like
Yeah.
against the shower curtain that she's wrapped herself in or shower liner that she's wrapped herself in,
Hmm.
which probably seemed like a good idea at the time, but maybe not in practice when you're outside actually doing it.
Well, why does no one have an umbrella? No one has an umbrella.
And she was planning on driving from one or getting driven from one place to another. I don't think she was planning on.
But like none of the characters have an umbrella. They're all just standing out in the pouring rain. Like
Yeah,
not even
well,
under the the covering of the motel. They're just loving the rain.
Okay, so I've been living in Seattle for 9 years now, and it is a phenomenon, right? Well, I mean, well, it never rains in San Diego, so maybe when it does, everyone's like screaming to be like, ah, fuck, where's my umbrella?
Oh yeah, no, I don't know where my umbrella is.
I thought more people would own umbrellas up here, but that is not the case. People just walk around in the rain. They're just like, whatever.
Yeah, but they have proper jackets for it.
True. But
You
again, like,
know,
I don't know.
I don't
I
have
don't
a
know.
jacket or an umbrella, so I don't know why I'm judging them, but
Hmm,
I it it's just interesting to me that they're all just standing in the pouring rain. At least she tried.
guess so. She does get killed pretty quickly, but we don't see who kills her.
I'm glad that she
Um,
died first.
yeah, they do kill the shittiest people first.
Yeah.
Um, this does wake John Cusack up. Maybe it was her scream, I'm not sure, but he goes and
hmm
investigates outside, hears noises from the laundry room. He was also finding some of those shower curtain rings
Yeah.
on the ground, you know. So it just reminds me of I Still Know What You Did Last Summer, also with John Hawkes. Um,
Yeah.
when he goes into the laundry room and then he just hears like the tumbling inside one of them and he checks each of them and you're like, we already know what's going to be in this goddamn thing. But by the
But
time he gets there, uh-huh.
th there's so much laundry being done.
Whose laundry? Who
Whose
else is staying
laundry
there?
is that? Like those are full loads of laundry. Like if you were
Yeah.
in your own home, not like I'm at a motel and I need to wash the one shirt that I got blood on because I shot a cop.
Yeah.
It's very much full loads of laundry. So I don't know who the fuck that all belongs to, but I did think it was funny that he opens up like
Each
three
one.
separate dryers.
Does he close those or does he leave them like
No, he
half
leaves them
like
open. And I'm like, bro, somebody's doing laundry. It's gonna
it's
get
all gonna
stinky.
be yeah, I was gonna say it's going mildewy and
Mildew.
shit.
It's
Ugh.
raining. Like the
Yeah,
last thing we need is humidity on all that.
100%.
Yeah, no, that was very inconsiderate of him.
So he does get to the last dryer, opens it up, finds the clothes of the actress, Caroline, whatever,
Mhm.
and
Old
also
Letty.
her head.
Yeah, that too,
Um,
which I love. I think that's the most fun kill reveal. Well, there's one other fun one, but it kind of sets the bar high because you don't see any of the kills on screen, really.
no. And honestly, there's some movies where I see like really good severed heads. This isn't one of them.
No, it's not.
No.
Especially where the neck separated from the body, it looks very um like Halloween haunted house looking, you know?
So a child did this? Ah,
Apparently. Spoiler alert.
apparently. Well, yeah. So the
Probably
manager
killed
and
her
the
first, then chopped her head off. It's easier that way, I would think.
so Larry and Rhodes conveniently arrive like immediately after.
Mhm.
Um, he's like, yeah, found this. I swear to God, I just got here. I found
Yeah.
this. The other thing is Ed doesn't really react too much
I
to this.
I
He's
noted that too. He's real chill about finding a head in the dryer. So he's seen some shit, is what that tells you.
cool as a cucumber. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Ed reveals that he used to be a cop, and then off the roads, sorry, realizes there's something else in here, inside that dryer, and pulls out this key, and the key tag has the number 10 on it. Mm,
And that was not her room number.
not her room number. It's actually Rhodes' room number.
hmm
So they all run over there only to find that Jake Busey is fucking gone.
I
Uh-oh.
know. He's
So now,
already out of there. Didn't take him very long, which makes me wonder, I'm like, did Rhodes like set that up?
well, right, if like if they both know that they're both prisoners, right?
Hmm.
Like, if I were Rhodes, I'd be like, wait, I,
Just
bro, like,
locked him up as a like
we
for
need to keep our
show?
ruse up.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. So again, before we got time to even think about that, guess what, Natalie? We're back to that whole thing with the lawyers. And they're all sitting around this table with the judge. They have Dr. Malik, if you
Mhm.
remember all of them, if you're keeping track, and
Not
they're
quite.
still arguing whether over whether or not to allow this diary um, to be used. I believe also they are bringing Malcolm there to speak with
Mhm.
them as well. So they're just like, bro, mostly just the judge is like, what the fuck, dude? You bringing this shit to me really like the day before?
Oh,
Ah,
he was fucking furious. Like he was like,
yeah,
I got out of bed for this shit. Are you kidding me?
yeah. So back at the motel, Ed breaks the news to the group. He's like, well, don't panic. I clearly didn't panic. Um, but yeah, so she's dead. We don't know where her body is, or at least all of it. We have
I
her
love
head.
that he like even shares that.
Yeah.
We only found part of
Um,
her.
yeah. So naturally, everyone is upset and yelling at each other. Um, Ed and the cop are like, "Hey, we've got this. Don't worry. We're gonna investigate. Y'all hang back." Ed at this point has basically deputized himself,
Absolutely.
um, just to be Rhodes's partner here.
Yeah.
He's like, "I used to be a cop. Don't even
Yeah.
worry. I don't need to give you the details why I'm not a cop anymore. But don't worry.
Yeah.
I've got a gun, so I've got the power. So I'm feeling pretty good. So let's do this."
Yeah, I think, I mean, again, very messy, but that's a good hint that maybe Rhodes is not a great cop, at least, that he's just like, sure, like you can play cop with me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, he's
why
not a
not?
cop at all.
No, I know that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like Ed is more of a cop than he is.
This part's pretty obnoxious, to be honest. Ginny's clearly panicking and is like, I need
Ugh,
to get the fuck out of here.
so
I'm
annoying.
leaving. Um, Also, by the way, she announces she's not pregnant.
Yeah.
Also, but she never mentioned that she was to begin with.
Yeah.
So we
We're
learned
just
that
learning it. We're
just
learning
learning
that she's pregnant, but then not pregnant.
they were married 9 years ago, 9 hours ago. Don't worry about me. Um,
Big
it's,
difference.
it's a long gestation period. So they got married 9 hours ago, and allegedly this was under the idea that she was pregnant, and that's what kind of pushed this marriage along. Turns out that why am I just I hate all of this. I'm like, why am I even repeating all of this?
Well,
But it
it's
takes up so much of this dumb movie.
they take
But
up a lot of time this whole scene.
I don't care about them at
Yeah,
all. So
no one
it
does.
and you don't get to see anyone die. So you're so
Hmm.
frustrating. But she's like, no, it was because of, fucking Heather or whatever the fuck her name was,
Yeah,
and she was macking on you. So
because
I guess
Allison saw it. But the
classic
other thing
Allison.
too, he says, I saw the test, and I was like, wait a minute. So you saw a positive pregnancy test, so somebody's pregnant.
Somebody peed
Not
on it
Ginny,
that's
but
pregnant.
somebody who was pregnant peed on that test. So I want to know
Yeah.
more about that.
Yeah.
I I love that he says Allison is a stupid bitch whore about her friend.
Mm.
I was like the men in this, like all the male characters are so awful. It's interesting. I like that piece of it because it's clear that he has a lot of like hate and anger towards his late mother.
I will humbly admit in my younger years, um, when you try to like at all get between like your girlfriend and her friend, it's a losing battle 10 out of 10. Don't do it.
That's probably true. Yeah.
Yeah, because you're just a fucking boyfriend, dude. Get the fuck out of here.
Hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
They come and go.
yeah.
Yeah.
So we're just subjected to all of this drama, and he's of course getting like, well, not of course, but like he's getting like really fucking aggro,
Yeah.
pounding against the door,
He's like
screaming.
verbally abusive and like close to being physically abusive, but there's a door separating them.
You know how calm someone is when they scream to you how fucking calm they are right now.
Yes.
That's how you know
Yeah. It's a really
that he really
effective
means it.
method. Yeah.
So he finally stops banging on the door, and you hear this thud on the ground, and you're just like, uh-oh,
That's not good.
uh-oh. Something's happening. She's calling out to him, doesn't hear anything, opens the door, and then also maybe sees the shadow of a giant praying mantis. I didn't understand what that
I
was.
think it's a shadow of someone holding a knife.
Oh,
But obviously the reason why it's a shadow is because it's just tiny little Timmy running around Chucky style.
I love that. And he's cut the fuck up. He's dead.
Yeah. And I think Lou even says before he dies, before you hear the thud, he says, "What are you doing?" Like
Mm,
confused. So he's
I
talking to
may have missed
somebody
that.
who he recognizes. But he's the only person I think that gets a word in.
So she locks herself back in the bathroom, is able to escape out the bathroom window, connects with the others.
Mhm.
They all walk back into the room where they were at, and yeah, this is where they find Lou dead on the ground. So remember Jake Busey, who's gone?
Yep.
Yeah, well, we find him. He's running. He still has like cuffs like around his ankles too.
Which is again confusing, like why he's running away if his maybe that like maybe the other prisoner wasn't like his partner or his friend. He's just another prisoner and he's like, this guy's fucking locking me up and shit. Like I can't trust him. Why couldn't we both be cops?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, why did it have to be a cop transporting a prisoner? How come we just well, it's because they only have one outfit to switch into, right?
Yeah, but
So
I mean they could have stopped somewhere for clothes. I don't know.
maybe. I mean, go stop and kill someone else and take their clothes.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
They're murderers.
Yeah. So let's see. Oh, I'm just a police officer and this is my friend who's a random minor, you know, with overalls and a hard hat and such,
Yeah.
and a gas mask on he wears. I don't know. So he so Mr. Maine, whatever his name is, he's
hmm
running. He finds this old dilapidated building and then he goes inside, looks out the window, right? Circles back and then realizes he's back at the fucking hotel again. Like literally he's made
In the
it
like dining room area.
something like that. So he's made it
Yeah.
all of like 20 feet when he'd been
Yeah.
running for a while.
Which is when you realize now something supernatural or out of the ordinary is happening. That's the first
Right.
occurrence. Yeah.
So he gets spotted by Deputy Ed and Rhodes pretty quick, and they just come in. They don't ask questions. They just really just beat the shit out of him. And
Yeah.
like Ed, like I said, feeling pretty good with his new role, is just right in there with him, just beating the
Yeah.
shit out of him.
Well, they
Um,
think he murdered Lou
yeah,
and the
again,
actress.
due process.
Yeah, but I mean, like you gotta get him tied up.
Yeah, but he was like already. Like all you had to do was just trip him. He had like his
Yeah,
ankles
I guess
tied
he still
together.
did have the ankle cuffs on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, oh well. So they tie him up. I think they end up putting Larry in charge of watching him, which Larry's like, I
Mhm.
don't want to fucking do this.
Yeah, I
But
don't
then they're like, shut up, Larry.
not
We're
a great
we're in
idea.
charge now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we own you.
Yeah. So Alice,
hmm
who's has her neck stitched up, I guess it was helping a little bit because she comes too.
Yeah, for a little bit,
Calling
yeah.
for and she can talk. That's pretty good.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm surprised by that. That feels like a stretch.
Calls out for George and Timmy.
Mhm.
And she also says that she doesn't remember a thing.
Yeah,
Yeah. So I'm
which I
like, all
mean
right.
makes sense. You got fucking hit by a car.
A lot of head trauma.
Yeah.
So let's see, where are we at? Um, Paris is getting all of her shit together.
hmm
Um,
She's making sure she got that money.
yeah. The prisoner, Jake Busey, is taunting Larry, and Larry is not having it. He's getting real overwhelmed.
I just love that he's like, "What's in the freezer?" I'm like, I can keep a secret. I've got a lot of secrets, and I'm like, okay, just because you have a lot of secrets doesn't mean that you can keep other people's secrets.
And how does he know what's in the freezer?
I think he just suspects there's something going on with the freezer. It's a giant ass freezer, and I don't know. The way Larry like goes into it and kind of like looks back at him like very suspiciously, might have made him see like he's up to something.
I wonder if he had to buy that vending machine himself just because he's like, I need to have something for somebody because the
Yeah.
kitchen's always got to be closed because I always have this body in the freezer. You wouldn't think after all those weeks he like out in the middle of nowhere, he just wouldn't find somewhere to just bury that body in the middle of the night. Really keep him in the freezer. I feel like that's not the most,
I
I
know
don't
it
know.
is in the middle of nowhere. He could just do it right in the middle of the night, just dig a hole.
Right.
Yeah.
So let's see. Ed confronts Paris while she's getting her shit together. They realize they're both Tauruses. There you
Hmm.
go. Um,
Best
he's
sign.
hanging, yeah, he's hanging around taking crime scene photos because again, he's a cop again.
Yeah.
Um,
And he had that
and
little disposable camera. Miss those.
yeah, he gives his whole background, right? Where again, he is this like, he's this like crisis negotiator.
Hmm.
Um, the way he
The
was
story.
the story that he had, I was just like it felt weird how he just like really had to go out of his way to first say like, some Mexican girl and
Yeah.
then list all the, infected with AIDS,
Just
doomed from the
pregnant.
start. Yeah,
Yeah.
pregnant, just a fucking, and you're just like,
Just
I'm
fucking doomed.
yeah, okay. It's just weird that the details he chooses to include there.
Yeah.
And I guess allegedly this is what broke him was that he paused when he couldn't come up with a nice thing to say, and that
Mhm.
just drove her to her death. And she was like, "No, you,
I mean, be better at your job, man. Like, have lines
yeah,
ready.
yeah." I
Yeah.
mean, that's kind of the whole
You could have
thing.
said
That's kind of
any
what you're
shit to
trained
her.
with.
Yeah, like you say any positive shit you can think of. It doesn't have to be specific to her.
Yeah, you just say, "Cool story, bro.
Yeah.
Tell me about it down here.
Yeah.
Let's future plan. Let's go get some ice
Some ice
cream.
cream. Yeah.
Yeah, with come on, let's
It's
go.
always ice cream.
And remember, you got to get, ice cream for two because you got a baby in there.
Uh-huh.
What kind of ice cream you like?" So, but it doesn't go that way. So while he's taking pictures of Lou's dead body, he finds another key with another tag, this time with the number 9 on it, which I'm
Uh-oh.
like, okay, if you see like a key with a number 10, okay, all right, weird.
Weird.
But
Yeah.
then if you find in it like any
It's
sequential
counting
either
down.
way, if it's counting down,
Or one, two.
yeah, I'm like, no, 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 no,
It's a
no.
no.
This is a
You're all
no-go.
fucked. Yeah.
I just need to find out what number I am and what I can do to, I don't know, put someone
Yeah.
else on that, I don't know, closer
I
on that
agree.
list. I'm not sure. They connect with Rhodes. They find Larry walking around outside like an
What the fuck you
asshole.
doing, Larry?
What the fuck are you doing, Larry? He's all staring, like,
Just
I
doing
was scared,
stuff.
damn it. I'm scared, just doing stuff. Don't look at me.
What was he doing? I don't actually know what he was doing.
I don't know. I thought he was holding that like tin box that had everyone's like copies like of their ID in it
Oh.
that he pulls out later, and that's how they realize everyone's a Taurus.
Interesting.
Yeah. So they're like, "Hey, dude, you're not watching Jake Busey. What are you doing?" They go inside. Jake Busey's dead as fuck with a key with the number 8 on it, and you're just like,
Mhm.
"Okay."
Love the bat. I love the bat down his throat. I think that's pretty
Yeah.
fun too.
A child did this. I mean, I guess Gary Busey's tied up, but still, that takes a lot of,
That's
I don't know,
a lot of
a lot of
strength.
strength.
Like, and also like where is he standing? Is he on like standing on his legs?
Yeah.
Like, how did he get that height?
Exactly. So that's
Yeah.
why they accuse Larry, being like, Larry, what the fuck did you do?
Yeah.
And he's like, like, hey guys, look, I'm a creep. I'll tell you that right now. I'll be the first to admit it. I'm a
Yeah.
creep. I'm a
Yeah.
weirdo. I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing here, right? I clearly don't belong here.
Such
I
a
feel like I've done that before.
probably.
And yeah, I'm a little pervert. That's sure. Yeah, maybe I'm stealing some cash. But I did not kill
Maybe
that
I put
guy.
this guy in the freezer.
Yeah, maybe there's a guy in the freezer. Don't even worry about it. Don't ask about it again.
Kitchen's closed anyway.
But I didn't kill this person. And, he was telling the
He
truth.
was
So,
telling the truth. Yeah.
people have layers, right? So,
Yeah, Larry has layers.
The human
I
condition is difficult, to
I
uh,
also I don't know that I would have been so quick to think that Larry killed the prisoner because why would you make it so obvious and incriminate yourself that's his bat and he was the one watching over him? It just doesn't make sense that he would have killed him if he was so sneaky about the others.
right. And Larry was carrying that bat around with him like the whole time. Like, I don't know why he would leave it then.
Yeah,
And then just,
exactly.
but that's his regret. And he comes back and he's like, oh, fuck. Now everyone's going to think it's me. It's my bat.
Hmm.
So, okay. So there's a skirmish basically. And then, yeah, they do find the body in the freezer pretty quick.
Yeah.
So, in all this, Larry bolts. He does, he is able to thwart them off by threatening to kill Paris with
Hmm.
like I think with,
Yeah,
yeah,
he
had like
was
a
real
knife to
quick
her
to be
throat.
like, I don't give a fuck about this whore. He's like, I will kill her for fun.
Yeah,
Like,
I like how he went from like I didn't kill anybody, I swear, to like I will kill this fucking person if you come near me.
yeah,
I'm like,
yeah,
you don't need to continue to demonstrate how capable you are of killing somebody. That's not making
yeah,
me think that you didn't kill someone.
yeah.
Right?
No, he's real cold.
Larry bolts, he tries to jump in his truck, kind of spins out a little bit and crashes into the side of the building. Um, Also happening to pin George and kill him.
Yeah.
Mm.
R.I.P.
Sorry,
George.
George. Yeah,
Yeah,
sorry, George. Yeah, I wish John C. McGinley had a little more to do.
I agree.
Um,
Underutilized for sure.
yeah. I mean it's hard when you have like,
So many
so many different
characters.
actors, yeah, so many
Hmm.
different characters and shit to cover. Um, but oh well. So back to these lawyers. Don't forget them.
I
I mean,
keep
who
forgetting them. I know every time they bounce back to them, I'm like, damn, they probably could have cut it down to maybe showing them in the beginning and then showing them again at the end. So you kind of forget about them a little bit.
yeah, you could have put all these together. It would
Yeah.
not like it'd have been fine. Like, because
Yeah.
it just feels like a chore going back at this point.
Yeah. Cause you're like,
Um,
what am I trying to figure out here? You're like, you're gonna tell me. There's not enough clues to come to your own conclusion. I would be curious to know if anyone who's seen this movie and is listening guessed the twist, the double twist. The first twist being that they're all personalities of Malcolm. Is that his name?
yeah.
And then the second twist that Timmy was the vicious killer.
Yeah, that part's kind of dumb, that extra
Yeah.
twist, but
Yeah.
we'll get there.
Yeah.
So, at least at this part, Dr. Malik is, kind of making that case for insanity, saying that he has several distinct personalities, but only one of them is really the killing kind. The rest are, yeah, a little weird, a little, quirky in their own ways.
Hmm. A little
Um,
eccentric.
yeah, but who isn't? He's got a few. So,
Yeah.
but at least enough to be like, hey, let us put him in some sort of like a, behavioral health hospital. I'll look
Yeah.
over him, let's not kill him.
Hmm.
Back at the hotel, Larry's tied up. He keeps assuming, he keeps insisting, like, I did not kill any of these people, I promise.
Hmm.
Um, they're like, okay, there's a body in the fucking freezer, Larry. What the fuck is that about, dude?
Yeah.
And he's like, okay, so look,
This is what happened.
funny story. Y'all want to hear the funny part first?
Yeah.
I think if I start with the funny part, I think it'll come down. Y'all be able. It'll go down a lot smoother.
We'll all just end up laughing about this in the future.
So get this, guys. His name's fucking Larry too. Can you believe it?
That is funny.
Look at that. It was meant to be. So it makes it not as bad, right? Because it's kind of like a Larry for
Larry
Larry.
for Larry. Yeah. Even trade.
Yeah, and I just felt bad. And he just says, yeah, I mean, I was feeling pretty bad. I didn't know what to do. But then people showed up and like wanted to stay at the motel. So I was like, all right, I mean, I'll check you
I should
in.
be nice.
And then I was like, I'm kind of starting to kind of like this life. I feel like
Yeah.
this kind of a hotel sim situation is really working for me. And we're making good money and it's steady income and
He's like, I
I
apparently know how to run a business, so that's
yeah,
cool.
yeah, I'm kind of an entrepreneur now, I'm
Yeah.
a small independent business, that's important, in this country. So ha 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 ha, right?
Yeah.
And we can all laugh about this, right? But I didn't kill that guy. And I really didn't kill anybody, technically, because right, because
Yeah.
he says he found Larry one
Hmm.
dead already,
Yeah.
in his
In
like
his
banquet
banquet
pot
dinner.
pie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Man, really that add the banquet part, not to
Yeah.
shade banquet, but
I mean,
that's
it's the saddest of the frozen dinners for sure.
unfortunately.
Yeah.
Yeah, on the banquet to beacher scale, I would say, yeah. Rough. Couldn't even give him like a Marie Callender situation. If it was
No.
his last meal, he couldn't have even gotten, yeah, like a
Banquet
Stouffer's.
is like flavorless food shaped mush, if that makes
Yeah.
sense. Yeah, like it's just kind of salty but not flavored, and it's the shape and texture of like mashed potatoes and maybe meat, but it's not. I don't
It
know how else to
is
describe it.
technically chemically edible.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So
We'll say that.
Jenny is also like, she's trying to console Timmy at this point, and
Hmm.
she's like, I was kind of thinking about it. I saw on one of these flyers, we're on a burial ground right now. Are we
Yeah.
cursed? Is that a
I
situation?
love that she's like, let's just explore all of our options. I read
Love
this
that.
brochure. I like that she did her research. The only thing I don't like about this is that it has nothing to do with anything that's going on and does not come up again.
Oh yeah, definitely. It comes and goes and that's it. And I was like, oh,
Yeah.
okay. Maybe we'll get
Could have
some
been something
lore.
interesting to work with. Could have gotten some ghosts maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you could have gotten rid of the whole Malcolm Rivers situation, make them all real people, and have it be this supernatural situation they're in. I would have
Yeah.
actually preferred it if it was much more straightforward.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So, let's see. Um, Ginny also brings up, hey, this is all a little bit like that Agatha Christie novella. I guess it's a novella. And then there were none.
Hmm.
They were all connected. But then even then, bringing up the and then there were none, I feel like the class, sorry all to spoil this, but the classic twist of and then there were none is that the killer you think is the third or fourth person to die out of the 10. He fakes
Hmm.
his death and he honestly, it was like the worst death to fake because he like faked getting shot in the head and I guess basically just
Yeah.
used like just Play-Doh and a little makeup to be like, no, you don't investigate my body. Don't even worry about it. Um,
Yeah.
I'm dead.
It
Don't worry. So you would think at least watching, so at least it rings the bells now that's like, So
is
really
it
anyone, even
Ginny?
someone
Is
that's
it Ginny
dead,
that brings up and then there were none?
yeah,
So she's like at least open to thinking of some other weirder possibilities, which I think is fun because if she wasn't so annoying and like her character almost changes halfway through, like once
doesn't
Lou
she
is gone.
feel, doesn't she feel like, yeah, just so much better, so much smarter, so much more in tune with herself after
Yeah.
Lou dies?
She seems like she's like a
Free
free woman,
woman.
like all that, yeah,
Yeah.
all that weight off of her shoulders. Like she's ready for her new life. She's like, maybe I'll adopt Timmy. Who knows? I,
Maybe I'll get
but
pregnant. I don't know.
yeah, maybe. But yeah, she's all of a sudden got all these ideas, but I like that they're all
Yeah.
just kind of not really, they're like, okay, like there's a flesh and blood killer here. We'll figure it out.
Well, she is right when she's like, are we all connected somehow?
Yeah, smart.
And then Paris is like, look, I just want to own an orange grove in Florida.
Yeah.
So leave me alone. I think they find that, maybe her and Larry are from the same county in Florida.
Hmm.
Um,
And that they both have birthdays coming up. I think they also share that.
yeah, at least at one point. Yeah,
Yeah.
so they're also, oh yeah, shit, we were all just doing our whole thing, revealing maybe our possible connections. We totally forgot. Alice is still bleeding out the neck in this other room. We should go check on her. Um,
How's she
A little
doing?
too, yeah, not good, Natalie. She's dead.
Oh, that's what
Yeah,
happens when you completely ignore someone who's dying.
that'll happen usually.
Yeah.
Um, but they get to wipe their hands clean of this because they're like, oh man, obviously this was foul play. And obviously Ed's like, I can't be in the wrong anymore because look, there's a key with the number 6 on it.
Hmm.
And then they're like, hold the fuck.
Thanks to
I like
natural
it.
causes. Natural causes, but she did get hit by a car.
Yeah. So yeah, so she's dead for real this time.
For
They
real.
find the number 6 on this key. Um, This really unnecessary way they have to waste time being like, well, what? This doesn't make sense. It went from 8 and now it's at 6. And then they're
Hmm.
like, oh, probably the other dead person we never checked outside that we know is fucking dead. So they
Yeah.
go and check George's body and then, yeah, find the 7 key right there. Like, oh, okay, yeah, that
Hmm.
solves that pretty quick.
Oh,
So,
what? No, I'll wait. I had a question about George and Alice and Timmy, but I'll wait.
sure. So Ed tells the women and children, get out of here. Get out of here. Get.
Run.
The men need to finish this.
Yeah.
Um,
Like
so
they couldn't
Ginny
all
and
just leave.
so Ginny and Timmy run around the corner and get into the car. Paris is gonna follow, but then the car explodes.
And
And
I'm so
also,
happy when I think that Timmy blew up.
yeah, I know. Um, so the weird part too is that the explosion is strong enough to knock Larry over in his chair
And untie the ropes.
and untie all the ropes. So
What
he's
the
free.
fuck?
He's good.
Yeah. And then
Um,
they're just fine with him being free too. Like they don't try to tie him up again. Everybody's just like, well, whatever. Just
right.
yeah.
They grab a fire extinguisher and put out this car fire. They think Ginny and Timmy are in there, but they can't find any remains, which is a little
Hmm.
strange. You'd think you'd find at least something. They
Yeah.
wouldn't all just evaporate into ash immediately.
No, there'd be charred bodies still.
Definitely. So let's see, where are we at? So they look in this car. So not only do we realize that Ginny and Timmy's bodies are not in there or in any evidence of their remains,
Hmm.
then they start looking around and realizing all of the people that have died so far, even the head of that woman, even though we never found the
Hmm.
rest of her body to begin with, but
Hmm.
it's all gone.
Yeah.
So all the bodies have vanished.
And the bat is clean as a whistle.
Clean as a whistle. All of the
Mhm.
crime scenes, like, even the bed that Alice died in is made, which I mean, I think is very, very nice of Timmy if he's running around collecting the bodies and then just making the bed afterwards. He is a polite little boy, like
Well,
cleaning up
that
afterwards.
that part is also like clearly
Right.
again something supernatural happening if these bodies are gone and things are just like clean and neat and picked up.
Now, this is when Paris does her Jennifer Love Hewitt, what are you waiting for situation.
This is I typically really enjoy Amanda Peet. I have to say this is her worst acting I've ever seen when she's like yelling out and crying in this part of the movie. It's not good.
Yeah. What are you waiting for, huh? I just want to I just want to turn 30 and grow oranges. Come
Yeah.
on. And I think this is what prompts everybody to discover that they all have the same birthday,
Hmm.
which is like what, May 10th, I believe. So they're
May
all,
10th.
yeah. So I did Google what, uh, you
Like if
know,
there's significance to that.
no, just what a group of Tauruses is like. They talk about like good like friendship matches and relationship matches and such. And I was like,
Hmm.
and I looked, a group composed entirely of Tauruses would likely be characterized by their shared values of stability, loyalty, and enjoyment in the finer things in life. So, I don't know. Do you think that's true?
Yeah. I actually currently work with two people that our birthdays are 3 days in a row.
Hmm.
So we're all Tauruses, very different personalities, but we all do enjoy the finer things. So I agree with that.
Now, I did see potential for conflict that the look, I didn't say this. Google AI is saying this, Natalie, but the stubbornness of a Taurus and maybe a quick fuse can lead to disagreements, but their grounding and practical approach can also help them navigate conflict. So, what do you think about that?
I think both of those things are true, and I think you know that.
A little bit. I'm a Cancer. I am like the equivalent of a dog that just kind of just rolls over on his back and just exposes himself
hmm
and just says, "I'm sorry."
Yeah, please, please don't be mad at me.
Just love me,
Uh-huh.
please. How can I show you love, please? So, okay. Um, so also we learn by John Cusack going through everyone's IDs that everyone's names are also like based off states. Like what
Which is
like
just, it just feels so random.
yeah, it's like Ed Dakota and Richard Maine and
hmm
Paris, Nevada, and yeah, the Yorks, and you're just like,
Why?
why? Why?
Why?
Who
I
cares?
maybe it's just a really simple, like Malcolm's mind just making a simple word jumble out of people's names.
Best I could come
Yeah.
up with, it's like, oh, like states, like a state of mind. I don't know. That's a stretch.
I don't hate that, but it's a stretch.
Thanks. Appreciate it. We can log it. I
We
like
can
that.
log
Thank
it.
you.
Yeah.
Appreciate you. So as Ed is realizing this and trying to kind of put all these pieces together, he starts hearing this voice, this echoey kind of
hmm
looming voice coming out of nowhere. And then almost kind of like astral projects to the room at the table with all the lawyers and the doc and Dr. Malik.
It's finally connected.
Yeah. And by that point, I'm just like, okay, next, let's go.
hmm
Um,
Because at this point,
so
you're thinking Ed is the murderer that has the multiple personalities, is what they're trying to trick you into thinking.
wait, but rather, he is one of many personalities owned by Malcolm
hmm
Rivers Cuomo. Um, and he's talking as if he is Ed to Dr. Malik.
Yeah.
And but then Dr. Malik is like, nope, nope, it's not. That's not who you are. This is
hmm
you're just Ed. You're just one of many. Just like Paris, just like the York family, just like et cetera, et cetera. Here you go. Here's a mirror, and he looks in the
hmm
mirror and sees not John Cusack's face, but the face of some completely different dude. I was getting confused real quick just when you put just many kind of like middle-aged bald white men in a movie. I thought he was original Larry that fell out of the freezer. I was like, are they the same guy?
You're like, wait a minute. Uh, here's where I take issue with this part specifically.
Uh-huh.
So he looks in the mirror, he sees Malcolm's face because that is who he is instead of Ed's face. But technically, if he's like living this fantasy of being Ed in this moment, he's got the personality of him. Wouldn't he see what he imagines to himself to be as Ed? That seems like it would be the case, right? But the other piece of this is Malcolm just constantly in a state of just being in essentially in another world. Like he's not present at this table with these lawyers. He's imagining, himself in Florida tending to this orange grove as Paris when he's in a truck. But he would have to be consciously living life in order to have murdered people in this real reality. So that's those things conflict. And I did look up the disorder that he has too to do some research and they add things, but the base layer of it is correct. Do you get what I mean though? Like which is which?
And I don't understand that if these are personalities that he has, and sometimes he will be Ed, sometimes he will be Paris,
Mhm.
etc. Is this the first time that anyone in that room was seeing him do this? And two, is
Yeah.
this the first time he's ever done this with a mirror around?
Yeah, there's a lot of questions that pop up. So when you're watching it, at first you're like trying to just understand the situation, but then as you start to think about it, there's so many holes.
This movie does not want you to think about it.
They don't want you to think about it because even my other thought process goes to if if Malcolm is actually functioning the way that this disorder works, he would then be Paris and he would be dressing as her. He would be living as her. He would recognize his own apartment as her apartment. Like all of those things would coincide. So then when he's Ed, if he switches into Ed, he'd be like, "Wait, why the fuck am I wearing a dress?" Like it there would be the blackouts and the memory loss, but he would be living in his real life as these different people, if that makes sense.
I'm gonna trust you on that one.
From what I've read, that
Yeah.
would be how it works. And usually people who have these multiple personalities are aware of the other personalities. They become aware that they are multiple people from seeking help, from blacking out. And then they learn how to live together, essentially.
I remember talking to somebody once who said that it wasn't multiple personalities, but a demon
No,
that lives with them. And
that's
sometimes
scary.
different demons can kind of just jump on, ride the wave of this guy and just kind of wear his body for a little while. Um,
That'd be terrifying to feel that that was happening to you.
yeah, I know.
Yeah. Okay, so I misspoke. So dissociative identity disorder, which is what Malcolm has, previously known as multiple personality disorder, is a mental health condition characterized by the presence of two or more distinct personalities within a single individual. These
Hmm.
alters can have different names, memories, and behaviors and may or may not be aware of each other's existence. So, okay, they may not know that the other one exists, but that's what he has. It does say you can have significant memory gaps or amnesia for your everyday events, and it's can be caused by past traumatic events.
Okay.
So not too far off. Sorry, I went on a whole tangent, but I just feel like the way that Malcolm is experiencing this disorder is very cinematic.
So this doctor, Dr. Malik, takes things a step further and says that, hey, maybe you're on, I think he says like you're on some meds right now that are also making you confront all your kind of personalities at
Hmm.
once. Um, and here are the stakes. And I'm going to tell you this, Ed, because I trust you. You seem like the nicest one that I've
Yeah.
met so far of
You seem
of
like the most cool.
reasonable one. Yeah, you seem like a chill guy.
Yeah.
Um, so one of these other personalities is a killer, and you need to figure out which one it is and eradicate it. Which I mean, I guess then if Ed Ed Dakota is able to kill whoever is the malicious one of the multiple personalities, then I guess it'll rid Malcolm of that stabbing urge, I suppose. Um,
In theory.
in theory. But then
Hmm.
also I'm like, but we're seeing all of his other personalities be murdered.
Hmm.
So is he no longer going to ever be Caroline again? Is he no longer ever going to be, the Yorks,
Well,
except for Timmy?
that was my other thought process was did like do all of these personalities start at once? Do they build over time as he gets older and collects more knowledge? Like did it start off as him and Timmy and then add on with age? Because I mean he is only going to have, I mean he has Ray Liotta is older than the actor that plays Malcolm. So he would be assuming knowledge of somebody who's lived longer than him. Like, you know what I mean? So I don't know if he would then, after these personalities are eliminated, if he would then develop new personalities. Because you can't just, like, it's not just going to be cured, would be my assumption.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Just because you get rid of the murderous one doesn't mean that more might pop up or another murderous one.
So back at the serial killer mind motel, um,
I like
Paris
that.
is trying to leave. Thank you. Paris is trying to leave in the cop's car. Finds out that Rhodes is also a prisoner
Mhm.
because she finds in the glove box, not only um, Richard Maine's, you know, rap
Robert
sheet
Maine,
or whatever, Robert Maine, whatever,
obviously.
but also Rhodes's as well. And then this is where they have that flashback where they see where they killed the original
Mhm.
police officer that's transporting them
Yeah, they
and
like to
switch out the
time jump
clothes.
a lot in this movie.
Yeah. They like to time jump and do like maybe just at the beginning of the movie, these like random like, you know, freeze frames. It was
Yeah.
very strange. Um, so geez, she looks for Ed, being like, where the fuck is Ed? Where's, he's not there right now. He's in
Mhm.
that room. She gets confronted by Rhodes. He is starting to act a little villainous here.
Yeah,
Um,
he's losing his cool real quick.
Larry comes to the rescue a little bit. Remember, everyone's just okay with Larry being
Yep,
untied, which
he's
I mean, I
free.
guess is helpful a little bit because she's able
Yeah.
to escape. Um, Larry doesn't make it too much longer though, because Rhodes comes to and just shoots him dead.
Hmm.
So goodbye, Larry. She finds Ed, who is now acting a little weird with all the knowledge that he has. I would assume
Hmm.
like having some sort of crisis himself a little bit, being
Oh,
like,
I'm
who am
sure.
I? I'm not real. I'm not a person.
Yeah.
Um, but then like, why do I feel so compelled to go on this mind mission to kill one of
Yeah.
these personalities? I don't know.
And try to
Um,
save Paris, even though she also is not a real person. He's like, go have your oranges. You're like, no, she won't have oranges because she's not fucking real.
yeah, he pops back and just like assumes with her that it's Rhodes immediately and is like, oh, okay, I guess I'm gonna kill Rhodes.
Yeah.
I'd be like, okay, I know it's not me and none of you are real, so I'll probably just kill all of you to be honest.
I actually would have loved if it was Paris.
Yeah.
Yeah, would have been
So
fun. And it would have
he,
fit Malcolm's, negative view of women who are sex workers.
right.
Like it would have made sense if she was the villain.
Poor Ed goes and starts shooting at Rhodes. He like I said, he's acting really weird. He gets like real close and just like whispers into her mouth, like, it's gonna be
That would not be comforting.
get your oranges. Just like onto her lips. It's like, oh Jesus Christ, like get away from me. Um, but yeah, so he walks right up the roads, pulls out a gun, they start shooting at each other. Ed's giving no fucks because he's like, I don't know, what's life anymore,
Yeah, it doesn't
even?
matter. I
I don't
might come
know.
back. Who knows?
So they're both dead, Well, as Ed is dying, he has his moment and like keeps saying just like, I see you, Paris, in an orange grove. And then just dies.
Yeah.
So goodbye, Ed.
Hmm.
And then they're also meanwhile, all these lawyers and this doctor are all having watching Malcolm have this conversation with
Yeah.
himself
Yeah.
between Ed and Paris.
Hmm.
And again, like so he had like never displayed any of this behavior ever
Well,
before.
I'm guessing, okay, that to go back a little bit,
Uh-huh.
they said they put him on meds that would then help these personalities to meet. And
Yeah.
they had an idea that it might become violent when they all meet each other, especially because they know one of them is a murderer, so no shit.
Yeah.
But maybe prior to those meds, he would just act as one of the personalities in real time. Maybe it's the medication that's putting him in this like weird cognitive state of being all the personalities at once. So he's having these conversations out loud to each other. But that's where my question of fucking Alice and George and Timmy comes in. If
Uh-huh.
he is all three of those personalities, how were they coexisting?
What do you mean?
How would that have worked? They've met those three personalities because the doctor is saying we need to get all the personalities together to
Oh, so
meet and see how it
theoretically,
plays out.
this York family would
Theoretically,
have known each other at some point.
yeah, in order for it to be real, or is he then when he's Alice, it's just playing George and Timmy as like what? How does that work? That feels like a huge, and then even Ginny and Lou. How do they coexist? How do the two criminals coexist? Like that feels like it's a little too deep. Like if it was each person was on their own, an individual from a different background or whatever, that would have made more sense to me because I had never thought about that until this watch and it really bothered me.
I would have bought that Rhodes and Maine like met each other that day,
Yeah, okay.
being transferred from one prison to
Okay.
another. But
Yes,
you're right.
that's
Like as
fair.
far as yeah, I mean the history between Ginny and Lou and
Hmm.
this York family, yeah.
Yeah,
And I
they're
would say I would buy that, Ed had never met Caroline before and was just giving her a
mhm,
ride in this limo.
exactly.
I
Yeah.
get it,
So
but
they're all meeting each other in a way that makes sense, and then they all end up stuck together in this storm at this motel. But for the family and the couple to have known each other
yeah,
for a period of time feels a little too far-fetched for how far-fetched this fucking film is. That feels more unbelievable to me than this approach of them all killing each other off.
not unbelievable for this judge though, because they're like, oh well, I guess Dr. Malik turns and
You're
goes,
right.
ta-da!
Yeah.
See, see, look at him, he's nuts.
Fucking did it right in time.
There you go. That's like fucking Michael Jordan hitting that dunk like at the last second in Space Jam, and
Yes.
literally, you had to stretch
Yeah.
to make that work.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
same
Mm.
situation.
Yeah. So I guess, yeah. So the next morning they're like, oh, well, you got me convinced. All right. He's still seems pretty crazy though. So let's put him, in some sort of behavioral health hospital. You have to be under the watch of Dr. Malik.
I
Sorry. Yeah,
mean,
Dr.
he's
Malik.
still, yeah, he's still a prisoner. He did his body did murder some people, six people.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but I guess you're like, oh, I guess it's just interesting that yeah, it's like weird that like even if it just stopped right there, it's like okay, John Cusack, who is like one of the like figmented like fragmented personalities, like I guess saves the day by saving
One of the
saving
innocent
one of
ones.
the innocent
Mhm.
personalities, I suppose,
But it's not
and then
Malcolm's personality.
also preventing Malcolm from being executed. So
Mhm.
even though he did kill, six people. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, uh, okay. So, we think story's wrapping up. I mean, kind of is.
Yeah.
So they're on their way, in this truck, transporting Malcolm from wherever they were at to this behavioral health hospital. I'd assume that's where they're
Mhm.
going. Um, on the way, Malcolm is I guess kind of imagining himself as Paris at this orange grove. Seems like she's doing good. It needs
Mhm.
some work, right? As she said, but little TLC
Yeah.
and a green thumb or an orange thumb. I don't know. Sure.
That
She'll
just
make
makes
it
me think
work.
back to the Cheetos.
Yeah, she probably still has that orange thumb just from the oranges and from the Cheetos. So, um,
I'm proud of that one.
sh short-lived though, because as she's like looking through the dirt of her orange grove, she notices a key
Wow.
with a tag on it
Love
that has
that.
the number 1 on it.
Love it.
She
I thought
turns
that was
around.
fun.
Yeah, it's pretty fun.
Yeah.
She turns around and finds the killer. It's
Fucking
Timmy.
Timmy.
Fucking Timmy, who faked his death just like the judge, and then there were none. Um, so this real quick montage of him killing everybody
It's
is a
pretty
it's a riot,
it's pretty silly.
especially the shot of him walking away all fucking calm and collected and shit from the car
From the
exploding.
explosion when it knocked fucking Larry out of his chair and untied the ropes
Yeah, this fucking little kid can just walk away like he's like
in
fucking
an
Sylvester
action
Stallone.
movie.
Yeah. Oh my God. So, okay, I guess Timmy's the killer. Maybe that makes sense that his most violent identity is the age where he experienced the most trauma. So
Yeah.
maybe he's like kind of
I
always
think
has that
that's
angry child inside him,
yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
that's the best I can figure.
Absolutely. I
Um,
think that's pretty on the nose of why it's Timmy.
So you don't see it, but you're led to believe that Timmy, kills Paris here.
Hmm.
Um, and then Malcolm, who is now full Timmy,
Hmm.
like takes
Like
the
the opposite
chains,
of what they wanted.
yeah, that takes like the chains like on his cuffs, right, that are connecting his wrists, like goes through and like wraps around Malex's throat,
Yeah. Because
and then
Malik
he's
is stupid and opens the fucking divider.
yeah, it's so fucking
What are you
dumb.
doing?
So he's dying, and then what the fuck is this driver doing? Like, he's still stuck back there in the back seat. I think we can like
Yeah.
do something to try and save him.
Uh-huh.
I don't know, or try to like intervene. He like doesn't even crash the car. He just kind of pulls over on the side.
Yeah. Well, I'm assuming that he got Malik and then immediately reached for the driver. But if the driver was smart, he would have just pulled over and tried to intervene.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah. So you don't really know how that piece ends.
Yeah. So, and that's essentially the end of the movie.
Yeah.
So you're led to believe that, you know, yeah, he's just all Timmy now.
I mean, technically, wouldn't he be Timmy and Malcolm?
Yes.
Yeah. Because then he would have two personalities because he still has to have his dissociative identity disorder, which you need to have a minimum of two personalities for.
There we go. That's the end of the movie. I was like, when I was watching this, I was like, oh, Jesus Christ, this is going to be a chore to talk through. And
Uh-huh. You
I
did
hope I
great
did
though.
okay. We're going to see.
I think you did fantastic. I as I was watching it, I was thinking like, oof, this would be a hard one to talk through. So if you haven't recently watched this movie and you just listened to Kyle walk through that plot, I'm impressed.
Yeah, I remember watching this earlier and thinking, oh my God, why the fuck she making me watch this? She should have to do this, not me. God damn it.
I had a feeling that you might feel that way.
Yeah. But I'm a trooper.
Yes.
So anything else that I've left out before we do our closing bits?
No, I think you walked through that plot beautifully. Great job.
Thank you.
Yeah, because
And
it is a lot. I think they pack a lot into an hour and 30 minutes.
yeah, John Cusack said that this is, one of the smartest scripts he's read, and I just don't see it. Hmm. Well, I'd love to hear some taglines.
Okay. This movie has only two taglines. You'd think there'd be
Okay.
10, but there's not.
I'm glad there's only two.
There's only two.
Okay.
So, pretty basic. Identity is a secret. Identity is a mystery. Identity is a killer. That's all one. Just so you know.
Thumbs down. No, thank you.
And then we have the secret lies within.
I that's better. One, because it's shorter, and two, it makes a little more sense.
Yeah, it makes a little bit more sense after you've watched the movie. That's your taglines.
All right. Boo scores. Who wants to go first?
I'll go first since this was your first watch. So when I chose this movie, I did do it a little bit just to see what you would think of it because I was curious. But I genuinely enjoy watching this movie every time that I watch it because it's short. It has a cast that I love. Other than Amanda Pete's one moment of yelling and, crying, I think the acting is great. I think the characters are fun. And I like that it's just nonstop. Like it starts off just going and it never stops. So I enjoy that piece. I don't feel like there's even any lulls in this movie, really. So I enjoy watching it. I think it's kind of silly. It doesn't all make sense. So it does lose some points for that. But I'm gonna give this a solid two boos. How about you?
I it's
Was there
stacked
anything you
cast.
liked? Yeah.
It's a stacked cast. Um, I mean, I like being at this like deserted motel like
Mhm.
vibe situation. I like that. Um, hmm. Oh, that's all though. I'm gonna give this a 1.5.
Okay, that's fair. I thought you might
Yeah.
have gone for one.
It's watchable.
Yeah.
I was kind of going between 1.5 and two. Um, but
It's definitely a thriller, not so much horror.
I think this movie does have some lulls, especially when they go back, whenever anything involving these like fucking lawyers and the judge and this whole
Mm.
situation.
I
I don't
mean,
really
those
care about
moments are
that.
brief.
And this whole dumb thing between Ginny and Lou,
Oh,
like,
yeah. Okay, that's fair. That was drug out. They were like, how do we get to an hour and 30 minutes? Build the
yeah,
drama.
yeah. So, I like little Timmy running around like he's Chucky. I thought it was a praying mantis for a second. I don't know why. Makes a lot more sense that it's Timmy.
Yeah. Little weird
Yeah,
shadow work there.
yeah. 1.5. It's fine. It and it's also not horror. So
It
yes, her
has
head
it
was in
has
a dryer.
enough murder in it that I think if you tried to get someone who didn't like horror movies to watch this, they'd be like, I don't know if this is for me.
Keep in mind, I'd also argue that Silence of the Lambs is not a horror movie.
Oh,
I
that's
think
a
that's
thriller.
straight thriller.
Hmm.
But I feel like that's my
It has less murder than this.
true.
Yeah.
Less heads and dryers,
Hmm.
sure. But yep,
Okay.
love it. Anything else?
No, I appreciate you watching this movie.
I appreciate you recommending it to me. I
You
still
never
was
would
like,
have
oh,
watched it otherwise.
I don't know if I would have, but
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Like I said, the cast is good, and I don't know. At least like, Mangold has a track record of like good movies too, and
Hmm.
some. But I would put this more towards like the Kate and Leopold of the spectrum of James Mangold movies.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
Sorry if anyone really fucking loves Kate and Leopold, but tell me
I've
why in the
never seen
comments.
it. Should I?
Yeah. No, I don't think so.
Oh,
I don't
okay.
actually, here I am being a fucking shithead. I don't think I've even seen the movie all the way through, but
Wow.
it looks pretty bad.
Talking all that shit on a movie you've never seen.
I watched
Very
enough of it
unprofessional.
occasionally on a TV to be like, first I'm like, hey, Meg Ryan, yeah, you're getting
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Go fuck Wolverine. Love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, would you leave this movie on if it was on in a hotel?
No, I wouldn't. Um,
I would.
one, because it's bad, and two, it's like 1408. It's like, why do I want to watch a spooky hotel movie in a hotel?
I mean, it's a motel, so
True.
you'd have to be really slumming it.
Yeah, you need at least like a key card to get the elevator working in a
Yeah.
hotel,
Yeah, exactly.
instead of just,
You're not getting the plastic keychain.
yeah, like a motel, like
Ever.
someone just literally just walks right up to your door from, the fucking wilderness. Like, no, thank you.
I don't like that.
I need some degree of separation for me to feel safe at a hotel.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. All right. That's all I got. Thanks for recommending this movie. I hope you all enjoyed this too. I
I
hope
know.
everything made sense. And
I hope
or
people are
just don't watch
listening.
it. That's okay. Um, all right. Take care, everybody. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ghost.
Thanks for listening to our episode on identity. If you enjoyed this episode, you could subscribe to our podcast and leave us a killer review on whichever platform you choose to listen. You can find us on Instagram at 321GhostPod and give us a follow. We would love to hear from you in the comments. You can shoot an email to 321ghostpod@gmail.com to share any thoughts, questions, or recommend a movie you'd like to hear us chat about. Next week, we're discussing 2006, Stay Alive. Thanks again for listening, and remember, you may not be the only one living in your head. 3, 2, 1, ghost.